Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday today after a nice long Easter weekend if you were off. If not, it's probably just another normal Tuesday. But today we're going to be looking at running the month end. So hopefully that's going to be cheering you up. A popular topic and one of the key questions about running a month end is, do I actually need to do one? Well, I'm going to answer all those questions for you today. So the scheduled time on this is 11, but it's actually 1 p.m. 2 p.m. Sorry, obviously, because we're talking now. Probably not going to be 45 minutes, if I'm honest. It's not that expansive or difficult an area of the program for you all. So probably looking at roughly more around about 30 minutes. But look, without further ado, let's see what we're going to be covering in today's webinar. First off, we're going to have a look at the preparation of month end as well. What can you do to prepare for month end that's coming around the corner? Demonstration heavy, again, using the month end wizard to show you exactly what you need to be clicking and when. After that, we'll have a look at the post month end tasks, and then we'll recap some of the most common questions that are asked about month end. Because again, it is a popular topic, but whether you use this area of the program or you begin to use it in your processing, it's completely up to you. We've got further support as well, as always, in the handouts, which have been attached. So if you need any links, anything like that at all, download the handouts. Loads of information on there for you as well. What I want to do first, though, is just go through the rules. If you've been to one of our webinars before, you'll know the rules. If not, these are the rules, essentially. Your microphone is automatically muted. So if you're listening to the radio and singing along, don't worry. Nobody in the room is going to hear you at all. You can cough and sneeze. You'll not interrupt us whatsoever. Send me your questions. A little speech bubble there with a question mark inside. Fire across any questions that you have. It's just myself today. So be patient if you could for me, please. I will prioritise answering questions around about this area of the software first. And then if there's any other questions, I'll try and answer them during the scheduled time that we have. If not, I'll catch up with you afterwards via email. But yeah, that's the focus for today, is month end. Should you run it? Should you not run it? Let's have a look at what it is briefly first. So is it just a point in time when you post some adjustments and run reports? Pretty much you're encapsulating it a bit like year end, but smaller, believe it or not. So instead of capping off a 12-month period of your choice, you're capping off a monthly period of your choice. It's a finer detail of organisation, is month end. Can make your reporting more accurate if you're running them on a month-to-month basis. But again, it doesn't change any of the numbers that you've input or you've processed into Sage, just potentially how you look at them via reporting. Do you currently run a month end? That's a question from me to you. I'm going to start a poll now. And that poll, if you could click on the buttons and let me know. Do you currently run a month end? Should be with you in around about 10 seconds. Again, you might have attended this webinar to learn more about month end to see if it's going to be something that you want to be using in the future. You might be attending the webinar because it's something that you're using and you're thinking, do I need to use it? Is there other ways that I can do what's included in a month end? All should be revealed. So just getting some responses from you all now. 71% have responded already. We've got a couple more and then we'll close the question off. Everybody is answered. Excellent. Thank you very much. That was very quick. Impressive for a Tuesday afternoon. Let's have a look and see. So as you can see, 71% of you don't use month end currently. 29% do. So that 29% might be thinking, do I continue to do it? 71%, do I need to do it? We're going to go into all of that in finer detail. And at the end, I'm going to run the same poll to see if those numbers change. And it doesn't matter if it changes to no, we're not going to use it anymore. Don't worry. Again, it's all down to your processing requirements and what you need to do. The common questions that we get about month end, what are they? They're in front of you now. So, do I have to run month end? When do I run month end? That is a common question because it is completely up to you when you run it. What if I haven't run one so far? Can I start partway through the year? But if I've missed a month, and lastly but not leastly, I haven't run the year end yet, can I run a month end in my new year? I'm not going to answer these directly now. I'm going to be answering them throughout the next half an hour. At the end, we're going to come back and recap on these questions, just so that you've definitely got the answers for them. But the answers are going to be littered throughout me talking over the next 20 odd minutes. So month end, what's it available in? Sage 50 accounts. What variants? Versions. So all versions, the variants are in front of you there. If you're on Essentials or Standard, you've got access to clear the month-to-date turnover and the lock date. Professional, you've got access to those two methods, as well as prepayments, accruals, and depreciation also. Now, the reason some of the titles on the left are asterisks there is because today I'm not going to be going into great detail on those things. The reason for that is they each have their own standalone webinars because they can get quite complex as to how you use them. So if there are any questions on them, I'll try my best to answer them without going into too much detail. But because of everybody using different variants of Sage 50, it's best for anybody that does use those aspects with asterisks on there. If they need information on, for example, setting up prepayments, setting up accruals or depreciation, for example, then it's best that you attend a separate webinar for that. You'll get more out of it than you will of me quickly glossing over a subject today, if I'm honest. But we will be touching on them, don't worry, and showing you exactly what they involve. So these are the available options. For example, if you are using month end to set a lock date, I'm going to show you how you can set a lock date without doing the month end. You can also clear month to date turnover for your customers and suppliers without having to run the month end. Again, it's up to you. Let's delve more into preparation though first, because preparation is key. Now, if you've attended my year-end webinars or year-end webinars that have been done by Sage before, you'll know preparation is something that we go on about. Year-end is no different than month-end. Ensure all your processing is complete for that period. There's no way that we at Sage can check that for you because it's all down to your processing and how you process your information. So again, it's probably best that you just have a quick look at your transaction ledger and see, here's everything I've wanted to be posted. Have I processed my recurring entries? Are invoices and orders updated? Journals, opening and closing stock if you use them, have they been posted? Now what I've written there is create a checklist. That is a very, very good tip. Open a Word document, a notepad, even physically get a pen and paper out by the side of your desk. You know, those desk planners that we all used to live by. If you get one of those and you put month end checklist and write underneath it, this is what I need to have a look at before I close this month off. I want to look at these processing, make sure it's all complete. I want to look at the recurring entries, make sure that they're processed in the right area. Create that little bit of a checklist for yourself. It'll become second nature. But even when things are second nature for me personally, I still refer to what I've written down. I always like to measure twice, cut once, as my father used to say. So create that checklist just to make sure that you're doing the same thing. And if you're not in, if you do have a key person role, for example, and you're not in, that checklist can be handed to whoever's covering for you, and they can work through it in the same way that you would. So it's always, always good to have these little checklists in place. So that's what I would do for the preparation. Run your reports if you need to. Just make sure everything is going to be included that you need to be included. At month end, it's honestly, the reason that this isn't a 45-minute webinar is because of the simplicity of what Sage does for you. It is as simple as tools period end, month end. That's how easy it is to navigate, just below your year end there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to prepare for it, which you have done with your checklist. We're going to run through the month end options, and then you simply run month end. There's not much more you'll get out of me saying this to you and just looking at the screen in front of you. So I'm going to dive into the demonstration now, just so you know how simple that this process can be. So here we are with Sage 50. Hopefully you can all see that. If not, let me know. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Tools at the top here, Period End, to the right. There we are, just above your year end, as I stated there. Click on Month End, and that brings up the month-end wizard. Follow the wizard. So that easy. We'll do that quickly once more. Tools, period end, month-end. Brings up the month-end window. Not to harp on about it again, but if you've heard my voice, you've definitely heard me say these words. Check data. Before you do any processing within Sage, not just month-end, not just year-end, but let's say VAT submissions, any large importing, any large exporting, anything at all, process-wise, that you're going to be doing in Sage, check your data. Doesn't take too long to do, depending on obviously your data size and your hardware that you've got. Checking your data, make sure that when you're running a process, all the figures that process is focusing on are correct. Therefore, your reports are going to be correct, and you're not going to be sat questioning what are these numbers in front of me. Always check your data. After you've checked your data, guess what? Again, if you've heard my voice before, you've heard me say this, backup. Maybe you just want to back up your data files. And you could even put in here pre-month end. So you know, before I've done month end, I took a backup and I saved it. There we are, done. I've got a small data set, so that was a very quick backup. But what you've done there, by checking your data and creating that backup, you've created a saved point. That's your insurance policy. If you run month end, power cut, something happens, you know, as they used to call it, an act of God, or something happens and you can't control it, and you want to go back, it's easier to go back if you restore a backup than it is to unpick what's accidentally happened. If numbers are all wrong and figures are all wrong, just restore back to when you knew everything was correct. It's a lot more time saving than you think just by taking a backup. And as a former tech, I can testament to that. The amount of times it's been easier for a customer or a client just to say, right, I'm just going to restore back to before I started the process. So must check data, backup. It's that important. Sage tells you to do it as soon as you click on the wizard. Now, hopefully that point wasn't too laboured. I am passionate about it, but hopefully it wasn't too laboured for you all. But let's move on to month-end options. So the first thing that you're going to have a look at here is setting the month-end date. Okay, I'm going to choose the last day of the month because that's when I'm going to run my month-end from. I'm just going to dummy this, and I'm going to say, right, I'm going to run this 31st of March. That's what I'm going to run. And then once I've selected that, prevent new transactions before this date. This is your lock date. Now, a lock date, briefly to explain, is setting a date where people, your employees or maybe yourself, cannot post a transaction dated before said date. So if I was to set my lock date to, let's be a bit more up to date, it's not 2024. If I was to set my lock date to say the 1st of April, 2025, which I can do manually there by clicking on the calendar, and then I came in tomorrow and I tried to post something for the 20th of March, Sage would pop up a message saying, nope, can't do that. That date is logged. You don't have permission to post in that area. Very popular around about New Year, a lock date, because I'm sure we've all done it before, writing the wrong date on a bit of paper or on a check, if you used to write checks if you were in my age bracket, writing the wrong year. So when you come to process in Sage, it's quite easy to process in the wrong year around about that time. A lock date when you're running month end prevents that. If you're using month end to set a lock date, and that's the only reason you're using it for, I've got news for you, you don't have to. And I'll embellish on that a little bit now, actually. So what I would do is I've set that date there, I've set my lock date, and let's say in the future, once I've ran my month end, I want to remove the lock date because there actually is things that I need to post in the past, as it were. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cancel this. I'm going to revisit it. I've set the lock date. What I would do is I'll go to settings at the top here, and then I would travel down to lock date. Once I click on lock date, there it is. That easy. So if you wish to prevent postings before a specific date, enter that date below. There we are. I can change this date. I can remove it. Okay. So if you were using month end just for lock dates, good news for you, settings, lock date. Now, if you're not logged in as manager, you may have to request that manager gives you permission to do that. Again, that's going to be in your user profile. Get them to have a look and set that up for you. But let's go back to month end. So I'm going to reset this again. And I'm going to free type it this time instead of using a calendar. And I'm going to set my log date to the 1st of April 2025. Apologies. I'll do it this way just to make sure. I sometimes double tap. I don't know if anybody else does that. There we are. So again, lock date just stops us posting in the past when we shouldn't. If we need to, we can temporarily remove it, make that posting, and then re-add the lock date again. Settings, lock date, nice and easy. Now the next option, set your month to date turnover to 0 and each customer supplier record. Again, it's not a must to do this. The benefit of this is probably going to be in your reporting. When you're in reports, you can see what monthly balances are, etc. You can also do this manually. By ticking this box, Sage is going to do it for you. To do it manually, again, I'm going to exit this. Let's go to the customer records, and I'm going to pick on, let's say, Bronson Inc. here. I'm going to go to my sales tab and customers, obviously. Sales ledger there, and you'll see here MTD, not making tax digital, as I'm sure we're all aware of, month to date, the traditional MTD. And you've got YTD for year to date, and then you've got your priors there. Now, if you want to month to date to set this to 0, you can do it manually in this box. Simply highlight, delete, and set to 0 if you wanted to do that. Now, an honesty piece for myself, if you do that, there is no kind of audit trail for it. You can't see in your transactions who deleted this and set that to a 0. You can't see why they did that either. But you can just do it. And that is if you're not, again, wanting to run the month end, you're just wanting to see what these figures are on a monthly basis. And again, in order to do that, you would have to do that for every single one of your customers and suppliers. Not often people do that. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just showing you just because it's possible, but I've never come across it myself. Anybody who does that manually, everybody tends to use the month end option for it. Which again, is as simple as ticking that box. Going to reset this again. Everybody is going to have the 1st of April 2025 ingrained in the brain after this webinar. I'll change this to the 31st of March. There we have it. So what have we done so far? We've set the month end date. We've set our lock date when we don't want people to post in the past. And we've also set the month to date turnover to 0 in each and every customer supplier record. Sage is going to do that work for you. Time saving. Now, for the professional users out there who use prepayments and accruals, again, I'm not going to go too much into this, but this is essentially where you would set everything up. For example, if you're not using it, let's have a quick overview of what it is. Prepayments. So let's say you pay for your rent in January, 12 months in advance. Push, done. You might not want on your reports in January a big 12-month rent kind of deficit in your figures. You might want to spread that cost, even though you've paid it up front and you're reporting, you might want to spread that cost over the year. So this is where you would use your prepayments. Every single month your rent is going to be coming out, divisible by 12, obviously, on a monthly basis. Keeps your reporting more accurate. Works the same for your accruals as well. So this makes your reporting on a monthly basis, depending on how you process, more accurate for you, rather than having that big, deficit right at the start of the year. So that's why you would essentially use your prepayments. Now, do you want to include them? So we've checked the prepayments. We're absolutely fine with them. They've all been set up correctly. Again, we've got standalone webinars for the setup of prepayments. We're happy with these. And we will put a little tick in the box. Same for accruals. Exactly the same reasoning. Again, monthly balances build up. We're going to include them in the month end, and they'll be posted when the month end is run. Again, Sage is doing that all for you. Time saving. if you're using these options. Again, the same with depreciation of fixed assets. If you have set that up, then it is going to depreciate. You must use this month-end tool. Otherwise, you're going to manually have to do all of the depreciations yourself. The same with your accruals and your prepayments. If you are using professional, then a month-end is pretty much a must, in my opinion, because otherwise you're just doing everything manually. You're posting journals manually, you're introducing an element of human error there. That doesn't have to be there. Let Sage do it for you. You could be doing something else instead of manually inputting your prepayments and your accruals and posting depreciation and working out calculations, all that kind of stuff. Let Sage do it in this area of the program. Move on to something else. Focus on another aspect of the business. So I'm quite easily going to recap what we've done in the month end here, because it's all down here in the box. This is a menu. You can pick and choose what you want it to do. And Run Month End Wizard is going to tell you what you've selected at the bottom here. So you can move down it in chronological order almost, and what we're going to be doing. So lock date is set. We're going to clear the turnover figures. It's going to post our prepayments. It's going to post our accruals. It's going to post fixed assets depreciation. It's exactly what we've asked it to do. And I'm just going to click Run Month End. Do I want to process month end for March? Yes. I haven't run my year end, so this is why I'm going to get this one. This message here, you may see the same if you haven't run a year end there. It's beyond the financial year that I've closed. Once I've okayed all that information, because I'm happy with it, the month end process for March 2025 has been completed. How can I check that? As always, straight to your transactions and have a look and see what journals have been created. There they are. There's my depreciation assets there. It's posted all of those, otherwise I would have to do those individually. Done all my accruals. It's also done all of my prepayments. How quick that was. Now imagine you'd still be processing that now if you'd started at 2 o'clock, I'd imagine, depending on how quick you type. So that is essentially why you would use tools, period end, month end. If you're not using it, you can't do everything manually, especially if you're not using your prepayments, accruals, and depreciation. If you're just using the lock date and resetting the balances of the month-to-date figures of your customers and your suppliers, then yeah. Now let's pick again. I think it was Bronson Inc. we picked on last time. It doesn't matter because it's all going to be the same. See, the month-to-date figure is 0. Let's go to John Smith. Again, not to labour the point, but MTD 0. Let's reset all those balances. So if you now went to sage.co.uk/help and typed in which report into the help bar, it'd come up with what reports you can run. And if you're going to be running any month-end reports, anything like that at all, the MTD balances are going to be fine. Your prepayments are taken care of. Everything is taken care of. Is it something, running a month-end, is it something that you should be doing? That's completely up to you, unless you're doing prepayments, accruals, and depreciation. If you're doing those two things, then I don't know why you wouldn't be running a month end, because it's going to do everything for you. It's going to speed everything up again. So that is running month end in a nutshell. Now, post month end tasks, generate your month end reports, batch reporting. Again, there is a webinar recording available on your batch reporting and how to run multiple reports at once. Save them to a folder. Job's a good one. Check your data and back up. As soon as you know a process has been completed successfully and you're happy with it, then check your data, make sure there's no errors again. And once there is no errors, back up that data. You've created another save space. Then just continue about your day. That's your post month end tasks complete. Now, based on that, I'm going to run the poll again. And let's see if it's changed anybody's mind. So shortly, you're going to be seeing the poll on whether you're going to decide to start running the month end or not. Here in front of you. Honest answer. I've got a good question there. How do you set up the depreciating journals? Again, it's all about that webinar. I'll tell you where to find it. Watch that one. It's a bit of a larger topic that I can cover on today's webinar, but I think you'll find it massively beneficial if you watch that one, because it gets quite intricate when you're setting all that up. But good question. Okay. Got 73%, just a couple more to vote, or a few more. And I'm going to close the poll. There we are. So, a big swing in votes there. So at the start, I believe it was 21% that said they were using month end, and now we're up to 88% who are going to use month end. So brilliant. We managed to glean some benefit out of what I've been saying today. 30% are still going to stick with no, not going to be using it. That's absolutely fine. If it doesn't fit your processing model, don't use it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it could be like go faster stripes on a car. If you're not going to use it, why bother? But if you are going to use it, you're definitely going to see the benefit from it, especially if it fits your processing. So the common questions. Do I have to run a month end? No, you don't. When do I run a month end? It's up to you. Usually at month end, but the same as year end, it's completely up to you. It's just when you want to close everything off, essentially. What have I run one so far that you may have to go back in time and look at those accruals and fixed assets. As long as there's no kind of backdating. If you need to start backdating transactions, it's best that you ring our technical support team or speak to our tech team on chat, because there's correct ways of doing these things. Because everybody's numbers are different and everybody's figures are different, there's going to be different ways of doing these things. Okay, so if you do need to start off from scratch, then just give them a quick call. Chances are they'll solve it for you pretty quickly. But again, I can't go through each and every single scenario. Hopefully you can appreciate that. Otherwise, we would be here until next Tuesday, I'd imagine. But yeah, no issue with that. Same for can I start partway through the year? And also, what if I've missed a month? Very popular, this one. There is an article on sage.co.uk/help. Select Sage 50 account, type in that little box, missed a month, month end, something similar. There is a step-by-step guide on there that will talk you through the process if you have actually missed a month. It is extremely common to do. Again, the key person aspect comes into it. If you've got, Minnie or Michael typing in your month end and they're off for a month for whatever reason and it's been skipped, it's going to need to be done. So there's a step-by-step guide that shows you exactly how to do that. And maybe if you are in a key person position, let somebody in to know exactly how to do this process, especially if you're going to be starting to use it. And finally, I haven't run a year end yet. Can I run a month end in my new year? Absolutely. You've just seen me do it there. Sage warns me this is a different financial year, but that's fine. It's absolutely fine. Some people don't run year end until 6 months after the year's actually ended. I'm sure you're familiar with that scenario. So again, just as normal. Don't let it affect your processing. Just as if you want to publish your process your year end, you don't have to do a month end. You can still do your year end. You're just closing off a larger period of time, or if it's month end, a shorter period of time. So it's nice and simple. Nice and simple. So in summary, month end is an optional task. It only needs to be run if you use the following options: accruals, prepayments, and fixed assets. And the month end option, obviously, it simplifies these processes, speeds them up. It removes the need for manual journals. Sage is all about time saving. That's what this option does for you. So keep your questions coming through. Obviously, again, thank you for your patience. I have been trying to type and answer them at the same time, so hopefully my spelling errors have been kept to a minimum. Whilst I'm waiting for more to come through, obviously, Copilot has arrived, so we have webinars with Michael. So join us for the demonstrations. Again, sage.co.uk/webinars. Register for the Copilot webinars with Michael. He'll take you through and show you how it works and the capabilities of integrating AI into your accounting softwares. Fantastic set of webinars there. Not only that, we're doing the one-to-one bespoke training. We've brought that back, high demand. So if you've got a new member of staff, or you've got a way of processing things and you want to be with an expert to show you if it can or can't be done or how to do it, get a training session booked in hour blocks. You can go through stock control, CIS, construction industry scheme, banking, debtors, creditors, anything. Ask us. Ask us if we can provide you with an hour of time to give you that bespoke training session. I believe it's up to rooms of 4 or 5 people. I don't know. You'll have to get in touch with us to do that again. So if you are having a group of new starters, for example, interns or whatever it may be, apprentices, you can all sit them down in a room and get one of our experts to bring them up to speed on how to use Sage. Might be worth it to free up your time. So yeah, contact us directly for that, or email. The email that's on your screen there. I believe all questions have now been answered. So what I want to do is thank you very much for your patience today. Thank you for your attendance also and your questions. It's been superb. And we do have a survey, so on your way out the door, if you could complete that for us, we read every single comment. So if you could fill it in, it helps us progress. Anything that you liked, you didn't like, anything you want us to cover in the future. Again, we do read every single one of them on a weekly basis. When zeroing figures is the P&L affected, you're just doing the month-to-date figures when you're zeroing off a customer or supplier, Karen. So it's not going to affect any overall figures, just that customer's figures for that month-to-date. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that made sense. So you're just fencing off numbers, essentially not changing any of them. It will be reflected in a monthly, but not overall. Again, what you could do, I know I've extended it, sorry, I was about to go off in a different direction there. What you could do is either use demonstration data, quickly run a month end in there, practice it in there, have a look at the reports that you would run in your live data, and have a look in demonstration data first. Demonstration data, what I've just used there to show you the demo, essentially, is brilliant for this kind of thing. So if you do have these little questions and you think, oh, I wish I've asked Matt that, but because obviously, if you're like me, as soon as you leave the room, you think of 1,000 questions that you could have asked. Go into demonstration data and have a mess about. You can't break demonstration data at all. So run your month end, run your year end, try this, try that, try the other, look at all the different reports. Obviously, it won't be your figures in your numbers, but the answer will be there as to what's reflected. You can go a step better than that, even, and you can restore, if you're on one of the newer versions, your live data into a practice version. Very much like demonstration data, but it's called practice data, and it's your data. Again, you can go in there and alter anything you want, practice doing what you want. It's not going to affect your live data, it's completely separate. More information on that, sage.co.uk/practice data. But it's something that was cried out for by a lot of customers, and we put it in the program as soon as possible. Just restore it into practice data, is your figures, have a play around, run your month end. Some people use it before they submit VAT. Some people use it before they do year end. They want to see how it looks. My opinion, take the backup at the same time. You can never have too many backups, in my opinion. I'm a big advocate of that. Other than that, though, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Good question. So thank you again. If you complete the survey, that will be absolutely wonderful. I'm going to give you 10 minutes back. So if you want to go and grab yourself a cup of tea, you're more than welcome. Obviously, that's my permission, maybe not the manager's permission to do so. So just keep that one quiet. If you do need anything in the meantime, just email in, give us a shout. But hopefully we shall speak to you soon, and enjoy the rest of your week. Good afternoon, everyone.